Okay, today's update is a filter and an extension hose. Let me show you some of the features that I added. In my last video, I showed you how I can make makeshift filters out of carbon and paper and have a clamp that'll clamp that on, or I can even use any kind of filter mask material I have laying around. I decided to make this an adapter, just a prototype, a proof of concept. So what I did is I took an old applesauce jar and cut it nicely around there, about an inch, and then I cut out the top, cut a hole in the top, and I hot glued it to a piece of wood and heavy duty rubber gasket and a bunch of screws, and I glued a screen underneath this side, and there's obviously a screen here, and I'm going to open that up and show you in a minute how I did that. And another thing I've done is I've added an extension hose. As you remember, I had about 2 feet. Oh, there's Sheldon. Okay, Sheldon is going to visit us in our video. Sheldon is gracing us with his presence. Hi, shall we? Say hello to the audience. Yeah? Okay, that's Sheldon the cat. He's a very good cat to us, right, Shelly? All right, he'll leave in a minute. Anyway, so what I did is I added a 6-foot extension to my 2-foot hose on the intake, and this is so I could take this on a plane. This should fit underneath the seat. If not, I can make modifications, but I think this should fit under a seat. It's about 13 inches wide, and with extension hoses, I only have the one hose. I have to extend the exhaust hose right here, so I'm just going to disconnect that for a minute. And so basically, the extension is easy. You just take a piece of PVC. I think it's 3/4 inch. I can't remember the size. Whatever size fits the hose, and you just cut it to length, and you put the 2 pieces of hose together, and you push it in there. It makes a nice extension hose, and you can extend it as long as you want. So let's talk about the replaceable filter. I'm going to disconnect this too here. All right. So you can see that the filter was glued down, and when I want to change the filter, I can do this outside in an environment where I'm not worried about contamination. I can put on gloves and a mask, and I can unscrew the top. Okay, and there's the filter that I put in. I can discard the filter, wash that off, dump out the activated carbon, burn the filter, do whatever I want, probably bury the carbon in the backyard. And then underneath that is another piece of filter. It was cut a little wider to fit the bottom, and pull that off the screen and toss that, and then put new filter in, new carbon, and a new filter there, and then just simply screw it back on, make it a little snug, and there it is, a replaceable makeshift last resort doomsday filter that I can replace as many times as I want. You buy your paper, your filter paper like N95 or P100 or PEPA filters, buy it in bulk, cut them to size. Buy your activated carbon, remember it's got to be activated carbon or activated charcoal, whatever we call it, and get that in bulk, and you can make this for a few cents a filter, and you can go out all day with this filter before you have to replace it. And so this was an adapter I make. I'm going to waterproof this so I can even take this off and rinse it off and disinfect it if I have to. But basically this is what's underneath this side if you watch my last video. So that's pretty much it. And what I have here, remember the switch. This switch has a momentarily off position, on and off, and then full on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as a mode switch. I'm going to put a hold-up capacitor inside here with a diode that'll keep the Arduino board. So when the board is on, I can flip it off momentarily, and this switch, and then I can detect this switch, and then put it back to on, and I can use that for switching modes. So I don't need any other buttons. I can say low speed, high speed, ventilator, whatever, and switch through the modes, turning it back to on, and then when I'm done, turn it back to off. So you can see that's spring loaded. So that gives me the go from there back to on, as long as I do it within a half second. So that's how I'm going to change the modes. So this is powering up. And this is on full speed right now. This is just so I can do an experiment. And I'm going to connect it to the mask. And we're going to put that down. Remember, it's designed to be worn on the back, but you can carry it around and put it down on things too. So I'm going to put the mask on. I don't need the exhaust connected. I'm going to try this out. And you can see it's really easy to breathe. I can breathe very easily. The fan is blowing air in here nicely. Inhale, exhale beautifully, no problem, very effortlessly. And I'm going through 2 filters and a bunch of activated carbon. But eventually, like I said, 2 filters and activated carbon, but eventually I could put electrostatic and even ultraviolet. So this could be a really good air scrubber. It has the potential of doing that. But right now I'm just worried about COVID-19, China virus, and worrying about that so I can go out. And I have the confidence to try it. I checked this all out. There are no leaks. There's in the tubes and the hoses or anywhere. What I did is I did a leak test today, and I found out when I plugged the intake here. I took this off. I plugged the intake, and I was still getting airflow out of the output there into the mask. I found out that the fan I bought is actually assembled in 2 pieces that are clicked together, and there's no seal. So I had to put a glue seal around that, and that's what sealed up the fan. And once I did that, the fan, there's no leakage anywhere in here, so it's not going to pull air from anywhere else. It's going to pull only from the filter. And I checked the filter too. That was totally airtight except for the filtration side. So that's pretty much it for today. I think the next video will be me going outside with it and probably go to the hardware store. And maybe you will follow me into the hardware store and see what kind of looks I get as I walk with this on my back. So a lot of options here. Remember, I can make adapters here that'll snap in. I just screwed this one in. This is a prototype. But I can make ones that'll snap in or hook in so I can adapt to any filter that's out there. I made my own just because I don't have anything. And the whole point of this project was to do everything from around the house. The only thing I bought was the mask, the hoses, and the fan. Everything else I had around the house. So, I'm an engineer. I don't throw anything out. So that was all scrap wood, believe it or not. That's pieces of scrap wood, pieces of poplar that I had, pieces of thin plywood that I also use for making front panels. Watch my video on how to make front panels. And Sheldon is back. Okay, Sheldon, you want to say hello to everybody? Okay. Sheldon, give everybody a kiss goodbye. Okay, love you. Bye. All right, thank you, Sheldon.